My name is Eric Martin. I work for Mennonite Mission Network. And so that's one reason I'm here. The other reason I'm here is because I went to Mennonite schools, and that's where I was formed a lot in my faith. It's where I feel like I learned to follow Jesus in new and big ways. And I think that the choices we make with our lives really shape who we are, right? That's not to say that if you don't go to a Mennonite school or do a service program, gap year program after high school, that you're making a bad decision. That's not what I'm saying at all. But just recognizing that the places we put ourselves in, the things we surround ourselves with do matter. And as we think about how we want to live out our faith, that encourage you to think, okay, well, where is it that I want to be next? Where can I nurture my faith? Where can I join in service to God and kind of live out my faith? And I think through our Mennonite institutions, we offer some pretty good opportunities to do that. So as we get started here, we have representatives from each of the colleges and from our Service Adventure program. And so I'm just going to have those reps stand up when I call you. So from Bluffton, we have Paul Neufeld-Weaver. And you weren't here for introductions. But you're wearing a Bluffton shirt, so I assume you're repping?
Yep.
Okay.
Brianna Ferris. I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions.
All right. Brianna Ferris. And from Bethel, we have Eric Breheim and Daniela. All right. And Heston College. Go ahead, Michelle. Michelle Hirschberger.
Yes.
And Riley Weissup is here. And there's some others here, right? Madison, Brianna, and Lisa. Great. From Goshen College, we have Jen Shank. And Lisette?
Yes.
EMU, there you are.
Hi, I'm Hannah Beck. I'm an admissions counselor at EMU.
Yes, awesome. And then from Service Adventure in the back, we have Leah, who will come talk as well. All right, but as we get started, I get it. It's 10:15 in the morning. Might as well be 6 a.m., right? We're all waking up. All right, so, but I want you guys to get ready, and I have some trivia questions here, all right? So, this is just gonna be shouted out loud, all right? All right, you have 5 options. I'm gonna name a famous alumni from one of our colleges, right? All you need to do is shout out which college this person is an alumni from, right? To be clear, counting alumni as they just attended. They did not have to graduate, okay? All right, so first up. All right, Jeff Timmons, member of the boy band 98 Degrees. Bit of a 90s, early 2000s boy band, all right? All right, which college did he come from? Bluffton. All right. All right, right here. He gets some swag right here. Over here. Stand up. Stand up. All right. All right. Yes, Jeff Timmons of 98 Degrees. Does anyone know? Does anyone know 98 Degrees songs? No. I mean, sorry. Anyone under the age of 30 know 98 Degrees songs? Look them up. Look them up. There's some real bangers. I don't remember any. All right. Yes, Bluffton University. All right. Next up, we have Katie Sowers. She She was a coach for the San Francisco 49ers when they were in the Super Bowl the other year. Goshen.
Goshen.
I got it. There were two right answers. Right. Two right answers. She's actually from Heston, right? She's from the town in Heston. Yes. All right, wait, go ahead and stand up.
And I have more prizes.
Yeah, go ahead and give her that Heston.
I'm gonna throw
All right, next up. All right, this Travis Schlenk. He currently works for the Washington Wizards. He was the general manager for the Atlanta Hawks.
Bethel. Goshen.
Bethel. All right, who wants it more?
Hey.
Oh, he already has it. All right. Yes, Bethel College. All right. Next up, sticking with the basketball team. All right, Goshen College. Eric McCollum. I believe still holds the record for the most points in the Chinese league. It was like 81. He's also the brother to CJ McCollum, who's a little more famous. He just got traded to the Wizards. All right. Yeah, good deduction. All right, right here. All right, 2011 Nobel Peace Prize winner, Lehman Gabori. All right, there are plenty of other alumni. Some might even say more consequential alumni than the ones I picked out. I heard yesterday that the guy who invented seedless watermelon, Goshen grad. I also heard, this is a bit more controversial, I heard the guy who declassified Pluto as a planet, also a Goshen grad. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I grew up with Pluto as a planet. And that's how I prefer to think about it. So I just want us, before we, in a little bit, we're going to have each rep kind of talk about ways that you can experience faith and service at their colleges and also in our gap year program, Service Adventure. But first, I just want to highlight a little bit. So we have this theme of service that actually runs throughout all of our Mennonite institutions, right? So we see, it did not take me long. I went on the websites of each of the colleges and just looked at their mission statements, right? Their missions and visions, and it was very easy to find. In each college and university, service was a key component, right? So at Goshen College, it's culture for service. At Bluffton, it's core values of discovery, community, respect, service. EMU's mission and vision are grounded in the enduring biblical values of Christian discipleship, community, service, and peace. Bethel College prepares students for meaningful lives of work and service through faith formation, the liberal arts, and practical experience and career pathways. Heston College graduates change the world as they serve through their vocations, churches, families, individual commitments to follow Christ. And then finally, at Mennonite Mission Network, we are the mission and service agency of Mennonite Church USA. So all that we do is built around this idea of mission and service to God. And so we talk about it as we find hope in the promise that through Christ, God reconciled with all things, whether on earth or in heaven. And as Christians, we are called to advance this reconciliation and peace. And so as we think about, well, so why service? Why is that important to us? Right? Why as Mennonites do we uphold that as a core value in all of our institutions? And when we come to places like this, you hear about service, you hear about this idea, right? And it's precisely because we follow Jesus, right? Jesus, who being in the very essence God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but humbled himself to the point of anyone know? A servant, right? And so Jesus, who came and served and healed and related with others, this is how Jesus lived his life. And so as followers of Jesus, we also want to live lives like that, right? And so our institutions try and prepare us to live lives of service. But again, what does service bring about, right? What does living lives of service bring about? And I think this gets even more into a core conviction that we have as Anabaptists, in that we are seeking the shalom of God, right? And so we use this word, it's a Hebrew word, right? And we often replace it with our English word, peace. But it's so much more than that, because when we think about peace, we can often think about kind of the absence of war, right? Or the absence of conflict. But shalom is not just the absence of something, it is the fulfillment of something. It is the bringing about of physical shalom. So there is enough to eat, a decent place to sleep, a freedom from fear and poverty for all of creation to be cared for. There is social shalom. There is social peace. There's healthy, harmonious relationships between individuals, families, societies, and nations. Again, more than the absence of war, there's a concern for justice. It is the presence of justice and healing and reconciliation, right? And the moral, ethical shalom. There is no deceit. There is no falsehoods. There's no hypocrisy, right? Just to be fair, I got this from one of Michelle's books, who is from one of our institutions. So that's the kind of stuff you learn at our colleges, right? And this, I promise I made this slide before I heard the speaker last night. All he was talking about, right, what Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about, was that the ends and the means are tied up together, right? So as we talk about living a life of service, of seeking peace, right, we are going after peace. That is our end. And so we also have to be using that as our means. And so as we serve others, it's a way of creating peace. And so I often talk about it in framing this verse from Jeremiah 29:7. Also seek the peace and prosperity of the city to which I have carried you into exile. Pray to the Lord for it, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. The context of this verse is the people of God are in exile in another country of their enemies, right, in Babylon. And they are trying to figure out how to live within this context, right? And the prophet of God comes to them and says, seek the peace of where you are, because if it prospers, you too will prosper. You are interconnected with the places where you are, with the people where you are. Martin Luther King Jr. talks about it as we are all caught up in a web of mutuality, tied together in a garment of connectedness, right? We cannot escape this reality, right? My well-being is caught up with your well-being. The well-being of my town is caught up with the well-being of the town next to it, is caught up with the well-being of my state and nation, which is caught up with the well-being of the world. And so wherever we are offering service and peace and shalom, it affects the whole, right? And so as we think about living lives of service, it's not just affecting the places where we are, but it is affecting the whole reality of the world. And so this is why we talk about living lives of service. Because our faith demands a response from us to follow Jesus in this way, in a way in which the means and the ends are caught up together, in a way in which we recognize the interconnectedness of all humanity together. And these are the things that I have learned through our Mennonite colleges, through my time at Bluffton, my time at Anabaptist Mennonite Biblical Seminary, in serving with Mennonite Mission Network. These are the things that I have learned, and I know that many, many others have learned as well. And so this is why I think these are good options for what you do next after high school. So at this time, I'm going to invite representatives from First Service Adventure and then each of the colleges to just talk a little bit about how you might experience living out a life of service and faith within those places, in those colleges or in those service programs. And so I'll invite Leah to come up and share about Service Adventure here real quick.
Cool. My name is Leah. I am one of the Service Adventure unit leaders for Colorado Springs. Sorry if I'm swaying. My daughter is asleep on my back. So as you can see here, Service Adventure is fantastic. As someone who personally went straight to college after high school, if I were to go do it again, I don't think I would do that. College is great. Loved my time in college. But there's a lot. I did not go to a Mennonite college, but I did switch my major 10 different times in my 4 years of college. It would have been very beneficial for me to not go to college right away and to take some time and figure out more of what I am passionate about, more of what I really wanted to focus on. And again, my experience was great, but I could have used that extra year. So Service Adventure is a one-year program intended for the year between high school and college. Sorry. I didn't see. Yeah, so the three main branches that we talk about in Service Adventure is the service part. So while you are with us, you are placed with a nonprofit organization and you serve pretty much a full-time adult job volunteering at a nonprofit. So that works with, in Colorado Springs, we have one that works with unhoused families. We have one that works with low-income families. We have one that works with adults with disabilities. And then we have one that works with Raw Tools, which you should go check out the booth if you haven't already. Raw Tools does a lot of work with gun violence, prevention and trauma awareness, and physically turning guns into garden tools. So that's like the main way that you spend your time throughout the week. And then the other two branches are, like it says, the community with in the house, right? So you live in a house with the unit leaders and with the other Service Adventure participants. You figure out together what that means as far as cooking, as far as cleaning. The base rule is that you shouldn't be attracting animals in your house. It has to be some sort of clean. And then after that, we decide, how often do we have to clean the bathroom? How often do we, how do we work together and live together in a way that really helps you live as you go to college or as you go to whatever's next. It really helps. How do I just interact with people and how do I communicate? These are my expectations, and how can we make those fit? This past year, we asked people at the beginning, what are your pet peeves? What are your standards? And at the beginning of the year, nobody said anything because they were all like, well, what I do is just normal, right? And by the end of the year, they were like, yeah, I do have some pet peeves. I do have ways that I expect things to be done. So it's a really good self-awareness thing. And then we also really closely partner with the local church. So you're involved, you're attending every Sunday, you're getting involved with when people need to move the house. And we're like, hey, we have a bunch of young hands, we will come help. So those are the three branches. Again, your service placement, your interactions with the house. We also have worship nights once a week. We have learning components where you get to share anything. This year we learned about tennis. We learned about how to roast ribs on a grill. We learned how to cross stitch. We learned how, what were some others? We did a volleyball one. We went to the local newspaper to check out. One of the guys at the church works at the newspaper, so we went to go see what does your job look like? What does coworkers look like? working in an office when you have a little kiosk desk thing look like. So we did a lot in the unit and then also with the church. Currently, there are 2 locations for Service Adventure. One is in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and the other is in Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah, it's a great way to take a step back, to not have to do schoolwork all year, and to explore what am I interested in, how do I want my faith to impact my service, and how does service become more than just a job or something that I want to do, but how can that become a lifestyle? Yeah.
Thanks, Leah. I also forgot in the trivia time, does anyone know any alumni of Service Adventure? Yeah, our most famous alumni. Right here, Jen Shank and Ryan Fox, right?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
Next up is Bethel College.
So I'm Eric Preheim. I'm a Bethel graduate. I serve as the Director of Admissions, and I do come from a Mennonite family.
My name is Daniela Cacique. I'm from Venezuela. I'm a student at Bethel. I'm coming into my junior year. I do not come from a Mennonite background, but I'm definitely enjoying and learning more about it in this experience.
So while we come from different backgrounds and perspectives, we both found a home at Bethel College, and we're excited to be at convention together to share our stories and our perspectives. Knowing that the topic is faith and service, we wanted to start with opportunities at Bethel College. So institutionally, something that we do at Bethel is something called a service day. That's every fall. There's a Wednesday in which classes are canceled, and everyone is expected to take part in our service day. So we ask the local community what is needed, and we respond with volunteers throughout the local community. Danny's been doing this the last 2 years. She has some examples of what she's done.
The first time that I took part of the service day was my freshman year. I decided to go on the trails that are around the campus. We're pretty much making it look nice, clean, safe for people to walk around, to do any sort of exercise. That was fun. We did it from 8 to 12. And then my sophomore year, me and my friends decided that we wanted to go and play in houses. We were all Spanish speakers, so it was fun because we were able to listen to music. We were talking to the people that own the houses. It was just fun. I never did anything like that, so we had the opportunity to put ourselves out there, just engage with the community, get to know other people, and just be able to help anybody who needs it, and also just appreciate the opportunity that Bethel gave us, and it's something new that I was never aware that existed.
So obviously this is something that we do institution-wide, but we also feel like we cultivate this ethos of service on campus, and so some of the service opportunities happen organically. Last year we actually had a group of 6 students, a staff member and 2 community members who went up to Red Lake, Minnesota, where they had recently suffered a tornado disaster, and they partnered with MDS to drive all the way up to Minnesota and help rebuild that community. And then, locally, we end up doing a lot of team-based service projects. So when I was at Bethel, I was a member of the soccer team. One of my favorite service projects that we did was canning at the local MCC organization. And Danny, as a member of the tennis team, does service every year as well.
Yeah, during the fall semester, there's a couple of Fridays that we do something that's called Hi-Fi Friday. So we pretty much go to either the elementary school or middle school, and we do like 2 lines, and then before the kids go to class, they go through the middle, and we just kind of high-five them. We say good morning, we just wish them a good day, and it's just fun because you get to see them, how they look forward to that day and how they're excited, or how that pulls a smile on their face. And it's just something that you appreciate. You do have to wake up a little early for that, but it's part of it.
And yeah, so we partner with Mennonite Disaster Service, we partner with local Mennonite camps and other organizations to make sure that there are always service opportunities throughout the school year for our students, and I'm always impressed by how many students jump at those opportunities. In thinking about faith opportunities, we have plenty of faith organizations on campus, FCA, we have student-led Bible studies, and chaplains, all sorts of stuff like that. But I would say that while some organizations stay the same every year, the thing about Bethel is that our organizations are dynamic and they reflect the students that are currently on campus. So any given year, organizations and faith opportunities may change a little bit, depending on who's on campus in any given year. And so if the organization doesn't exist that you're interested in, it's actually very easy to start new organizations. When I was a student, there were students that started a weekly hymn sing, and so it's very easy to do stuff like that. And the organizations are always changing. Some things that are not changing are our weekly chapel services, 24 hours of prayer that we have on campus every year, and then we have guest speakers, including people through the Menno Simons Lecture Series. It's events for students. Coursework is important when it comes to faith exploration at Bethel. Yes, you can be a Bible and religion major, but you don't have to be a Bible and religion major to take courses in those sort of topics. So everyone has to take a lower level course like Intro to Biblical Studies or Mennonite History. And then before you graduate, everyone takes a class that's famous at Bethel called BIFL. So that's Basic Issues of Faith and Life. I think when you think about any of the classes at Bethel, it's not important that you believe in a certain set of doctrine. It is important that you wrestle with difficult questions, listen to other perspectives, and by the time that you graduate, we want you to be able to articulate your beliefs, whatever those are. And I think almost everyone leaves Bethel College changed by those experiences. I would definitely count myself among those people. BIFL is often cited as one of the most memorable and important classes by our graduates. And of course, we have stories of recent alumni who graduated, went straight into voluntary service, sometimes for several years. People have gone to San Francisco and Colorado and Arizona. They've also done stuff internationally in Central and South America and Africa. And in fact, recently ran into two graduates who have been out in the workforce for a couple of years. And they're going next month to Guatemala for a year of service through a Mennonite organization. So this is kind of who we are. As Eric read earlier, first part of our mission statement is Bethel College prepares students for meaningful lives of work and service through faith formation. We're proud of the mission and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you all about some of the many things that make Bethel a special place. Thank you.
All right, thanks so much. I'll invite Bluffton up next.
Hi, I'm Paul Neufeld-Weaver, and I graduated from Bluffton a few years ago, and now I teach at Bluffton. And I think it would be very fair to say that the emphasis on service and also on intercultural education is the reason why I came back to work there. At Bluffton, there's many, many opportunities you have for getting involved in service. And like we heard with Bethel, we have a weekly chapel service, and that's mostly run by students. We have a student chapel worship team. We also have opportunities for students to be ministry assistants in the different residence halls, leading Bible studies and other kinds of things. I've been more personally involved with some of the more activist kind of things like Peace Club, which has been very active the last few years on campus. We took a trip out to EMU for the Intercollegiate Peace Fellowship Conference, and in 2 years we'll be hosting that. And so if you come to Bluffton, if you're a junior or senior, you come to Bluffton, you will have a chance to be part of that. I also direct the Lion Lamb Peace Arts Center, which has a ministry of serving school children in the communities around us. And we involve our students, our Bluffton University students, in teaching peace to children and bringing kids from the local schools on campus and having sessions for them on peacemaking. And that's been, I think, very mutually beneficial both for the kids and for the university students who've been part of it. Bluffton has a requirement that all students need to do a cross-cultural experience. And we have opportunities both domestically and internationally. A few weeks ago, in the end of May, beginning of June, I was helping lead a group that was spent 2 weeks in Chicago, learning about different cultures in different neighborhoods. And one of the experiences there was volunteering for 4 days in a Chicago public school on the Northwest Side, where actually the person who organized that for us is a Bethel grad. We also have experiences in Guatemala. I'm going to be taking a group of students next year to Tanzania, and service will also be part of that experience. There's a wide variety of things on campus. Another group is Brave Space, which is for LGBTQ folks and allies, and that's been active on campus. And we take students every year to New York City to the MCC UN seminar. That's been significant for all the students who've gone there, and some of our students actually ended up doing an internship, and two of our students later did an internship in the summer at the MCC UN office. And we've also had a student who was in the MCC Washington office at one point for the summer on an internship. I wanted to talk about a couple of alumni and the path they took. My son, who graduated from Bluffton a few years ago, went into Mennonite Voluntary Service in Chicago and had a good experience working with Erie Neighborhood House and an after-school program there. More recently, Deborah Yoder graduated from Bluffton. She had been very involved in the Peace Club, and she went into Mennonite Voluntary Service down in Tucson and worked with the coalition to dismantle the Doctrine of Discovery. Really became engaged with that and decided to continue. She's working now as a staff person there, and she's here this week. You may run into her at the table of the coalition. I wanted to mention one more thing, that a lot of Bluffton students are athletes, and our athletic teams also all engage in different kinds of service projects. And we also have a High Five Fridays where athletes go to the elementary school in the morning when school opens up and greets the kids. So that's something that a number of us do, it sounds like. We'd be happy to talk to people more about opportunities.
We'll invite EMU up next.
I'm Hannah Landis-Buck. I graduated from EMU in 2024, so just a little over a year ago, and I've been working as an admissions counselor since then. I'll just start by sharing a couple of opportunities for faith formation and service at EMU. You'll hear a lot of overlap between the universities, and we know that, and so we're kind of telling you the benefits of going to a Mennonite university, and then you can speak to each of us more about the nuances and the unique things you'll get at each university. Similar to Bethel and Bluffton, we have campus worship is what we call our chapel, and then convocation is every other week. And there's a Wednesday morning block. It's set aside. There's no classes, so everyone is welcome to join and are able to join. So campus worship is more faith formation focused. There's a variety of styles of worship over the course of a semester, and then convocation is more based around exploration of EMU's values, so peace and justice, active faith. And so we'll bring in guest speakers to talk about relevant topics to the time. So we'll have speakers for Black History Month, Queer History Month, stuff like that. We also had a cute one where we brought in the Harrisonburg mayor actually works in our advancement office. And so we had coffee chat with the mayor, and we had like a little radio show for that. So you'll see stuff like that as well. Also on the worship side, we have a student-led worship called Celebration. So that's once a week, and it's more like contemporary Christian music. We also have a club called Hymn Sing, which is exactly what it sounds like. Every other week, they'll gather to sing hymns together. And we also have a campus chaplain, campus pastor, Brian Martin Burkholder, if you've met him. And then he leads a group of students called Student Chaplains, and they'll just assist with different worship events on campus and generally community building events. We also have a service club called Why Serve. So this is opportunity to get engaged in the community. We have lots of like food pantries and stuff like that that you can get, that you can go volunteer with. They also do a spring break trip every year and do a service project then. Service is also a big part of our intercultural program, previously called cross-cultural. If that sounds more familiar to you, it's now intercultural program, to highlight kind of integrating with other cultures and learning from each other. So yeah, we kind of have a new model with that that's starting recently. Thank you, Heston. The way this works is everyone is required to take a 3-credit intercultural course, and so this fits into a couple different programs. One way is to do a local context course, and so that's pretty new. This last semester we had a course. It's more like experiential. You're going out into the community, talking to people, hearing their stories. And Harrisonburg has some very rich culture and history. So we had a course this last semester exploring African American history in Harrisonburg. And then the upcoming semester we'll also have a group exploring the refugee community in Harrisonburg. Then of course we have the semester abroad that you can do. You can also do a couple weeks over the summer, and service is built into those as well. I also wanted to mention our Peace Club that was mentioned. Bluffton, I think you mentioned that. Yeah, you just hosted the Intercollegiate Peace Conference, and so Peace Club, especially in the last year, has become very active, and that is a structure that we have, and also it sort of translates into a culture of student advocacy for peace and justice. In the community, and then also to our administrators and to changes that students want to see on campus. And so something notable I wanted to share was in the last couple years, since the violence really ramped up against Palestine, in October 2023, we had a group of students led by Peace Club who really strongly advocated for EMU to publicly call for a ceasefire. And so they wrote a letter to the Board of Trustees and then followed up with a number of different actions on campus. And after a couple months of really hard work from these students, our administrators listened and ended up calling publicly for a ceasefire in Gaza. Yes. So I wanted to share that yes, we have all of these structures and clubs that you can get involved in, and it's also just an institutional part of our culture. And yeah, one of the questions Eric had asked us to answer is how can learning and education help us grow in our faith? So one of those is actually learning tools for peace and justice. So some of the stories that I was sharing, we learn as we're growing up in the Mennonite church, like peace and justice is really important, but we don't always learn like direct ways to advocate for peace and justice in our own communities. So that's something really important that you'll learn. And again, if you can choose peace building major, and then you'll also get these tools built into anything that you study. So for example, our nursing program, there's one of the hallmarks of the program is that there's a focus on holistic patient care. So instead of just treating the symptoms, you're learning to know the patient, to understand them and who they are, and treating them as a whole person. So really, no matter what you study, a huge part of choosing a Mennonite school is that you're getting these values and tools for peace and justice built into any program you choose. Another big part that Bethel and Bluffton have also mentioned is just wrestling with complex questions. And especially in this context of the world, we're hearing a lot of information from a lot of different sources on pretty complex topics. And so critical thinking is really important to learn, like why we believe what we believe. What do you believe? Kind of examining the things that you've been learning your whole childhood, and you can take more ownership of that. And then what does that actually mean for your life? So that you can come to your beliefs more deeply and authentically. Yeah, on the trivia, you learned about Lema Bowie, as she's definitely our most famous alum. She did work in Liberia. There was a major civil war there, and she organized a group of women advocating for peace, and for her efforts, she did win the Nobel Peace Prize in 2011, I think it was. Another much more recent alumni that I wanted to point out is Rhea Clymer. She is actually here at Mennonite, and she graduated just this last May with a degree in music and peace building. And she is now working for Mennonite Action. So you've probably seen her around, maybe leading some Mennonite Action things. So if you have more questions, she's also a great person to talk to. And yeah, I've seen a lot of you at our booth already, but if you have more questions about EMU, want to chat about the program or anything else, we'll be at the booth. Thank you.
All right, and next up is Goshen.
Little Jesus here, I just love this. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to turn to somebody beside you and in 3 seconds or less, say, my name is blank, and this is the career that I wanna have someday, okay? Just turn to somebody beside you in 3 seconds. Ready, go. Okay, time's up. Time's up. How many of you were able to come up with your career? What you might want to do someday? Okay. How many of you, even though you might not know what you want to do someday, could name a career? Probably all of us? Really? I think we could all just say like dentist, firefighter, like some kind of career, right? Now, think about this, and I won't have you do it because I think it's a lot more challenging. If I would say to you, turn to the person beside you and say this, my name is blank, and my purpose is, or my calling is, like that's a lot harder, right? So you're at a time in your life right now where you are asking big questions, and people, well-meaning people, adults will come to you and say, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or where do you think what are you gonna do after high school? And that can feel like a lot of pressure, and that can feel overwhelming. So you're asking big questions, you're trying to figure out like what you're gonna do with your life. And at Goshen College, we have this class where we talk about career versus calling. And it is my belief, and also the belief of Goshen College, that all of us are called to service. And you saw our motto is a culture for service. We believe that all of us are called to help people. So whatever career you choose, whatever you decide to do with your life, we believe that we are here, our reason of being here is to help other people, to serve. And so you've heard all the colleges say this, and I won't go into all the details because I know you're kind of getting tired and probably ready to wind up. But we have very similar programs to what you've already heard. We have a day of service where we cancel classes and students serve. We have, we call it SST, it's a study service trimester, or where you go to different places in the country or around the world and you serve and you learn. We have service opportunities with your dorm floor. So RAs will create a service opportunity for you to do with your classmates. We have what we call senior buddies with a local retirement community, Greencroft, where you adopt an older person and you relate to them and you help them out. We also have, for faith formation, we have chapels, we have Bible studies, we have student-led worship nights. We have a prayer booklet that the students and staff create, and we pass that out to everybody for individual prayer or group prayer. Small groups, individual groups, pastoral care. We have Engaging the Bible, which is a required course for all students. So we've got plenty of opportunities, just like all the other colleges, to engage your faith and serve. those are the official programs. But similar to what Hannah said, like our institution creates these ways for you to grow in your faith and to serve. But there's just an overall culture at Goshen College of thinking about how you can make the world a better place and do as Jesus did and serve other people. I'm going to read 4 quotes. I got in touch with some of our alumni from Goshen College of how their time at Goshen helped them grow in their faith and also thinking about how service was impacting their life. The first one is Carissa. She just graduated, and she says, I plan to become a registered nurse in a pediatric hospital. My dream has always been to become a nurse, and my faith had an impact on this choice, especially when wanting to work in a career that can experience tons of emotions, hardships, battles, miracles, and more. I want to be an advocate for these children and also be a guide in family care. I want to care for my patients along with giving them a comfortable environment. I hope to share God's love through my actions in the medical field. So she is combining her calling of serving with her career of being a nurse. Patrick is currently in Tucson Mennonite Voluntary Service. He graduated in 2021. He says, I remember the service day we did at Goshen College. My class helped host games and we talked to residents of Greencroft, the retirement community. My education at Goshen College broadened my understanding and empathy for the world. Since graduating, I've strived to live up to the Goshen College motto of culture for service. 2 more. Clara says, she's currently, she went to the SALT program, which is Serving and Learning Together, and she says, studying at Goshen College helped me to understand and value the importance of service in my life. When I participated in the study service term in Peru, I saw how serving others was a direct way that I could live out my faith. I knew that I wanted to expand on this even more after college. After graduating from GC, I wanted to try an international service program, so I participated in MCC's Serving and Learning Together, which is SALT, in Colombia. My experience on SST and other GC classes helped prepare me for this rich experience. I'm very grateful for GC's emphasis on service to others, and I continue to value this in my work now as a paralegal with the National Immigrant Justice Center. She works with immigrants in Indianapolis, Indiana. I said I had 2 more, but I just had 1 more. So anyway, Lizette and I are happy to talk to you at the Goshen College booth. We would love to have you think about what comes next and what matters in your choices, and whether you choose to do service with Service Adventure or whether you choose to go to an institution like Goshen College. Our prayer is that you find ways to live into your purpose, live into your calling of serving wherever that takes you in your life. Thanks.
We'll invite Kristen finally up.
It's great to be here. I'm Michelle Hirschberger. We'll go really quick, so please don't leave. Anyway, teach Bible, and I'm one of the campus pastors. I'm going to take a different tack. You know what you can do sometimes at college? You can do your day of service where there's no class, and then you're like, click that box, and then you go back to just being who you are. So we have a different, and we do some of those things too. All the stuff that you've heard, Heston does, all of that too. But what we're trying to do now is when you take your vocational classes, we're a 4-year college now, and to say, what does it mean to do that every day? So I'm just going to take a couple of our 4-year programs and illustrate. Our nurses don't just learn pharmaceutical stuff, whatever, but they actually go to underserved areas in Wichita, and they learn how to do that every day. I do a drama with them where I pretend to be a breast cancer patient, and I'm dying, and I say cuss words and things like that. They go, oh, and then they have to interact with me as I'm pretending to be something. Because we're trying, what does it mean to do service every day? Health and human performance, they wrap ankles. This is exercise science and athletic training. You know, how do you do that to people who cannot afford to pay for that? How do you do that every day? business management and sports management have to go on an overseas trip and do something called entrepreneurship for the greater good. Don't just be a business, no. How do you make the world a better place? What does it mean to just embed service every day? Of course, we also have aviation. We have several of these four-year programs, but what we're trying to do in our bachelor degree programs is to say, what does it mean to be a servant every day? We're not going to repeat it. We have all the things you have. We're going to tell you about what it's like in the dorms and what it feels like at Hudson.
Hi everyone, my name is Madison Jarvis. I am an upcoming sophomore. I will be giving you all perspective as an athlete. I am a triathlete on campus, so I constantly serve with all my teams. I know my favorite serving moments is volleyball. We live right by a retirement home, so we help them have a little, since it was hot one day, we had a little snowball thing, a little games, everything else like that. And also on our campus in May, late May, we had a thing called 10 Days of Giving. So during those 10 days, every student or community member was able to give some clothes or some equipment and things that we'll give to natural disaster, people that had lost all their things. And it's just a great way to include our community in things on campus.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brianna Williams. I'm an upcoming sophomore as well. I am focusing my career in nursing, and I'm also a volleyball manager on campus. One of the as Madison said, she is a part of the volleyball team that I manage. So we did do the service with the elderly, which we helped them out. I know I had one lady that I was like pushing her around, just taking her for a walk. Like even the small things matter to them. We also had something like apart from the volleyball team where we would like on Thursdays go to the nursing home and just like help them and like take care of them, along with the workers as well. I mean, yes, like it's always a lot going on. You just gotta choose what dorm you would be in, but it's always a lot going on. Everyone is very interactive and very embracing, and that's what I love. Like me, I'm from Chicago, so I'm not used to Kansas. So coming there, it was a different scenery for me. But everyone was embracing, everybody was, pulling me in, making me feel welcome. And I feel like that is what brought me out. That is what made me more comfortable enough to share and be around more people, that I wasn't used to. So it was definitely welcoming. Yeah.
I would also say for volleyball players and like men's and women's soccer, we're there for 2 weeks before. So I do know for sure that's when you met everyone. We would hang out in our little basement gaming area. I know for sure we got in trouble a few times, but it's all good, I would say. And we also have 3 amazing RAs on each floor. We have our ministry assistant, wellness assistant, and community assistant. So thankfully Riley was one of our ministry assistants, so.
Yeah, so I'm Riley Weissup. I recently just graduated from Heston College in May, and I was very much involved in the ministry at Heston College. We do all sorts of stuff, and it changes every year based on who is there and who is attending Heston College. But we do, I help with 2 different worship things, campus worship, and then Wednesday night worship. We do chapel 2 times a week. We call it formation. We do, I was able to be a part of a prison ministry where I would meet with a prisoner once a month and ended up becoming really, really good friends with him. And just doing all sorts of stuff, I made so many friends and I had such a fun time, and I would really recommend Heston. If you want to know more, come see us. Yeah.